community on BRTV. My name is ALIYU, ILIAS. Matters that concerns you as a consumer, where we educate you on goods and services and fight for your interests and protect your privileges.
The commission, does this. We do investigate
bank. So when you lodge a complaint with the bank and after 2 weeks, maybe you didn't get a response or you are not satisfied with their resolution.
TSTV, connecting your world.
Consumer community on BRTV. Welcome to Consumer Community, where we discuss your rights, your privileges, and opportunity for you as a consumer in Nigeria. Today, we'll be discussing about entrepreneurship development and consumer-related issue. I know you must have been susceptible to some challenges of entrepreneurship or development or business. Business is becoming whatever you want to venture into in Nigeria today. But what have you put in place? What structure do you have to even embark on this business? And that's what we want to extray and discuss today. And with me, I'll be speaking today with an entrepreneur par excellence who has practiced entrepreneurship over time and also tutor, guide people and show people the way on how to really do business very well and putting up a structure for them. Today I'll be speaking with Mr. AINA OLADIPO Michael, who is the CEO Step Network Business. Thank you for joining us on this program today.
Thank you very much, sir.
So I want to believe that having explore every opportunity in business, because before you can do business in Nigeria, you must have looked into the structure of it, which starts with CAC, tax, and a whole lot of things. But as a business person, you only see that two things. But what are other challenges, and what does it mean to even do business in Nigeria?
All right, thank you very much. Like in some of my training that I discuss with youths, and I make them to understand an insight of doing business, particularly in Nigerian system that we have today. Before you go into doing the business these days, we talk about entrepreneurship. And entrepreneurship, when you want to talk about entrepreneurship, you bring entrepreneurship with creativity, innovative, and somebody who's ready to solve a problem. So when you look at the Nigerian system today, we have various problems that we want to solve. There's a global issue, there's an international issue, there's a state issue, even down to your local government. Look at the problem around your community where you are, and look at what can you do that can solve this issue. Now, let me take, for example, a small business now. In the location where you are, let's say maybe you are in an estate where there's no kiosk, there's no shop, and there's nothing of that nature. You can start up as small as little as you see to open a small kiosk or a small business provision store where anybody that is coming in can easily get things that they need, and they can buy this stuff and go in. Yeah, now you don't need a business registration, you don't need a CAC, but you are solving a need and you are making an income to your own.
Right. But yes, it's good. But Nigeria as it is now, we always see bottlenecks in what we want to do, and consumer will think because business is difficult to do, business person transfer the problem and the price to consumers. So now we want to look at the bureaucratic bottleneck that's involved on how to start a business. For instance, I want to start ILIAS Nigeria Limited. What is the process? How soon will it be?
Okay, thank you very much for that. If you want to start a business of that nature, I think the first thing you have to do is to get a name. When you set up your name, you have to have like 3 names. You have your 3 names, you have your address, you have your ID card, and you have to submit this to the CAC. The CAC, that's the corporate. CAC? The CAC is the Corporate Affairs Commission of Nigeria. Right. They are the body in charge of registration of every business, be it limited company, be it a business name, or be it an NGO. They are the one in charge. So when they keep a search, they search for it, you get your availability, and they give you all the process. The documents will be sent to you, the required documents that you need: your passports, your the utility bill, your address, every details, your ID card will be needed, and you get the request from them, you submit to them, and the process will be done.
Okay. And looking at that, does it cost an arm and a leg
to
really pay for that? Because you are only talking about document process. Yes, I may be able to get the utility bill, be able to get documents. What about the money that's involved? Because that's another thing.
Yeah.
I need money to do business, but I also need money to register. So what if the money to register is even outweighing or scaring me to start? So what's the range of those things?
Okay, like the price, we really want to appreciate the government through the office of the Vice President, who they break down, they step down some rates of people that want to register for business name. I think from the price of maybe 30,000 to just 15,000 naira. I think there was a time they were just at the cost of even doing the business name registration for 5,000 naira. But now it has gone back to, I think the highest now that you can bid for is 15,000 naira.
For business name.
Yes, for
not
business.
A limited
not
liability.
a limited liability.
Right.
So at least if you want to start up that, you can start with a business name. Whereby where you start up your business name, you register your business name, you also issue a certificate. And with this, you can now improve. If you want to get a limited liability, I think with 30 to 40,000 naira, you get your limited company registered.
Now, MSME, micro, small, medium enterprises,
yes,
comprise of about 96% of job that we do in Nigeria, as in they create more employment, like I want to say.
Yeah.
Now, because they create more employment, I think that's why there is an institution of what business made ease of doing business. But every, like we said, every hardship on a business person is transferred to a consumer. Now, let me give you an example. A container in Apapa, right, coming from there to Abuja or to any place in the north costs not less than 2 million naira to do that. And in the long run, you transfer that to consumer. And apart from that, to take an item even from Apapa seaport itself down to maybe a nearby state, maybe Oyo State or Ibadan in particular, it takes you about 10 hours because you have to face the port head, which is what we call environmental health officer. You face custom, you face police, tax force, LASMA, and what have you. These are problems. Perhaps the 10 hours that you used to move from Apapa port to Ibadan, you would have get to London, which is 6 hours. The same. So where's the ease of doing business? Where is it here? Because it does not only trickle, it does not only center on I register with ease. The process of the business itself, how is it working?
Yes, like as you said, the procedures and the routine of how you have to do your business in Nigeria might just be, it's not a problem per se, because these are security measures that is being put in place to actually guide your product and to make sure the service you are rendering it's being delivered to the consumers. You mentioned the police that is being on the checkpoint. You mentioned your tax. Tax is something that you have to pay. If you don't pay your tax, how do you want the government to keep running the system of the government that is being put in place to have a checkmate on these your goods? Now, there are purpose for there are security measures that are being put in place. If you don't have the security system there, how will your goods get there and will not be stolen? So these are things that is a considerable measure that must be put in place. Okay, now look at the FRSA now. They are being on the road, checking out vehicles. Inspection officers are on the road because of this issue of overloading. Now, if you have this issue of overloading, you see cars being stopped on the road or having accidents, causing a lot of go-slow. This go-slow will end up having so much jam pack on the road that your goods there can get spoiled.
The argument of consumers goes beyond because they are there. We want them to there, but what we are saying is that it should be a one-stop shop. When we say one-stop shop, since we know that we are going to do custom paper, we are going to do environmental health officers paper, we are going to do maybe what do you call it, lawman or what have you, all these things, why not bring it together? Then the businessman will go and solve the problem at the same time. Not that when you finish this, you go to this, and it takes you 4 or 5 days to really ship. Perhaps your item must have entered what we call demurrage.
Okay, thank you very much for that. Like the one-stop shop you mentioned about makes me remember we're going to give a kudos to Abuja Enterprise Agency. They have really done so well. They have a one-stop shop there for proper documentation. If you want to register for your CAC, you want to have a NAFDAC, you want to go for all these registration about your business, they have a one-stop shop there, and we're going to give kudos to that. And you see, bringing that to a physical table on the road now, where you talk about bringing your goods in, either you shipping it in or going outside the country. They also have measures that they can also link you out to a very good guidance on how you're going to get your maybe exports, the Export Promotion Council, you get to them on how you can ship your products in or out. So I think the Abuja Enterprise Agency are doing so well, and we'll give them a comment on that.
So now, at Step Business Networks, what do you actually provide for people?
Yes, what we provide for people is proper business planning. we discuss with you on the business you want to do, give you more insight about what you want to do, and how you're going to carry it out is. Just like now we mentioned the Abuja Enterprise Agency, so many youths and people in entrepreneurship business doesn't know about that. Okay, now writing a business plan is a bottleneck for so many entrepreneurs, because when they say, okay, upload your business plan, upload this and that, they don't know how to start. So we give a teaching, just like we have a mentorship class also, for even those that want to go into this business plan writing for people. Just the same way we have a teaching class for entrepreneurship development training for a week. So these are more services
But if you look at Nigerians, we do not have choice than for federal government to deepen more on MSMEs, because like I said, it creates more employment opportunity. Even the so-called big blue chip companies rely on MSME to get their raw materials and to get their things running. So how do you think government should encourage this MSME particularly, so that we can have a booming and where youth can have something to do?
Yeah, thank you so much. I think the Nigerian system, the Nigerian government are trying. They created this Nigerian Youth Investment Fund, which they are using to actually support both the youths in entrepreneurship and SMSs in global. But we still need their more support for area of funding. Much is area of funding, because in every successful business, you need fund to keep running the business. So I believe if the government can still create another ease implementation on how to get this fund directly to the youth, or directly to the entrepreneurs, directly to the MSMEs club, I think the ease of doing business will be at the click.
Much as you have highlighted, the government have had a lot of
intervention funds.
Intervention fund.
Yeah.
We have Jeep, you know.
Yes.
We have, you know, trader money.
Yes.
You know, a lot of them. How has this actually
Even
translated?
this is nice. Like
how has it translated to betterment of the youth? How many youths have moved from that unemployment status, you know, to be an employee? That's
yeah. They're like this. The NIASA fund they released, I think, during the COVID. They created the platform for NIASA, which supports the MSME system, the platform, to support them with at least $1 million. Some got 700,000. I know quite a number of those I've trained from our own business network that access this fund, and they are doing very well now. I have a lot of them who are into fish business. All of them who are doing the gari processing. There's somebody that's actually got the fund. He's only doing the gari processing with a partner with another farm, but now he has been able to use that money to buy his own milling machine and even the frying pan. So he has opened his own small factory, which is at least is good. So what we're just craving for now is at least let this fund. Now the challenge the government is saying is some got the fund and it's a loan, which
that's where I want to go. Is it grant or a loan?
Is a loan.
What about the repayment? Are people repaying it?
Yes, that's where the government are being choked up now, because they said the people are not paying as per when due. I think they have a moratorium of 6 months. Then they're going to pay for 3 years or so. But you see, the moratorium period elapsed, and yet the repayment plan has not come on board. But we also have those who are key into it and who are already paid and even got a second batch.
Now, exactly where I want to go now. If there is no proper repayment system, it will affect the next beneficiary of it. Then, and apart from that, now let's look at it government to government. During Jonathan, we have what we call you win. Yes. So those that got that benefit that time, have they repaid what they're supposed to repay? That's a very good question.
That's a good question.
And moving forward, why are all these policies not sustainable?
Yes, okay, in governance, there's what we call the sustainability of what you bring now is implementation. Like when somebody come on board and says, okay, I want to create this system. Okay, let's imagine the GEEP period now. There are some infrastructure put in place to release fund out,
right, and
it should be come back as a loan. Now, the other government come in and said he wants to do his own as a NIASA loan. There's no, the sustainability, there is a gap. Another person that is there now, within the short period of time, the next 3 or 4 years, this government is going to go, another system is going to come in. There's no proper checking of this fund that has gone out. Wow, who are the monitoring team that is going to make sure these people that got this fund will pay back?
Perhaps maybe the beneficiary think is a largesse. Is a largesse for that, because
you normally call it national cake.
We always have what we call poverty reduction program. One government or the other, Obasanjo with NAPEP, you know, Jaradua Wealth Creation, Jonathan, you win, then
The government now
it's called Empower.
Empower.
So if you look at all these things, you discover that there is different name for sustainability of it, and we cannot actually measure it. But and as a consumer, we want to look at the end result of it. Has it actually reduced poverty in Nigeria? That's the question. But because if you look at the world poverty clock, Nigeria is either number 1 or number 2. Nigeria and India always exchange the number 1 position or the number 2. So moving ahead now, you as a potential CEO that you have engaged many entrepreneurs in Nigeria to access loan. So what do you think is the bottleneck? Because you cannot tell us that it's only the people that you have given. You have also your bill has also been denied, maybe because of their documentation, because of maybe their incapacity. So what are those prerequisites they also ought to have?
Yes, like before, like apart from drafting a business plan that we do, we also have a checkmate of you presenting your 6-month bank statements, which we use as our accreditor will check the transactions to know if you say you claim you have a staff that you are paying. Through that your account now we can trace how are you paying your staff. How is the money coming in? Is it coming in through what you are buying as a product? Is it going out through the service you render? So there's a checkmate on how they do the 6-month transaction on your account. So if that account is eligible for that funding, I think that is a scale up 1. Then 2, they're going to pay a visit. We pay a visit to your site, to either your office, your company, your factory, wherever it is, to check if this place is even in existence. Because there are some people that operate from their home and they give an address. And at the end of the day, they give you a good business plan, they submit everything, and you fund them. And at the end of the day, you use money for something else.
But must all business have a 4-wall office?
Yeah, it depends on the kind of business you're
right,
operating.
because if you look at Lagos as a state, as a good example, in Lagos, most people operate from their houses and they are doing good business, even legitimate businesses. If you go, like an example of Shomol, if you go to Shomol, they do printing business model, but they are operating from their house, and it's fine.
Yes,
so,
yes, that's why I say we have to pay a visit to the site, to your home, to make sure that at least you have
would that not be a bottleneck, bureaucratic bottleneck as well, that you want to see me in my office premises?
I think if you are genuine with what you are doing and you want me to help you to get funds, because I as Mr. Business Network now, we don't provide the fund. We only help you to access.
Okay, for you to access for me, is it only for products related or services? Because I could have my laptop in my front and it solves problems.
Yes, it's general.
It's general.
Yes, either service you are rendering or the products.
All right, thank you for being part of this program. We've been speaking with Mr. AINA OLADIPO Michael, a Step Network CEO, Business Network CEO. He has been telling us about what you need to do as a consumer, how you can prepare yourself to do business in Nigeria, those things you need to have, those documentation, certification. He also made mention about how you can access funds. We are going on a breather now. When we return, we'll discuss more. Consumer community on BRTV. My name is ALIYU, ILIAS. Matters that concerns you as a consumer, where we educate you on goods and services and fight for your interests and protect your privileges.
The commission, does this. We do investigate
bank. So when you lodge your complaint with the bank and after 2 weeks, maybe you didn't get a response or you are not satisfied with their resolution.
TSTV, connecting your world.
On BRTV. My name is ALIYU, ILIAS. Matters that concerns you as a consumer, where we educate you on goods and services and fight for your interests and protect your privileges.
The commission, does this. We do investigate
bank. So when you lodge your complaint with the bank and after 2 weeks, maybe you didn't get a response or you are not satisfied with their resolution.
TSTV, connecting your world.
Thank you for joining us again. We'll be speaking with Chief Executive Officer of Step Business Network in person of Mr. AINA OLADIPO Michael. Thank you for being here. I want us to look at the Nigerian youth now, because we said 3.3% of Nigerians are unemployed. If you look at that, it only falls into Nigerian youth. Like I used to tell people, the next 30 years we'll be having an old society. And why are we going to have old society? 72% of Nigerians are now youth. So if you look at that next 30 years, these people would have moved to become an aged person, maybe within 60, 70 years. And that will lead us to also say, so what are the opportunities that the current youth can look at and tap into?
Okay, thank you so much for that. I think before we move to the whole society, as you said, the youths of nowadays, I think we should look at solving problems. Just as I said, you have to have your creative minds. You have to the youths are mainly known to be creative, to be innovative, to solve problems with these skills. So now there are so much grants available also for them to tap into, to write their concept notes. Even on climate change, you can see, okay, now like we have so many flooding, Kogi State is at flood, Jigawa is at flood. There are so many companies and international organizations coming out with, send your concept notes, give us a prescribed solutions to these issues on climate change, and we'll give you funding. You understand? There are so many issues on community development, the challenges on girls' child. Like now there's an NGO working on the menstrual hygiene for girls. And they send their consent note to the Days for Girls, that's with the UNICEF, and they provide them with fund. So, and these funds are not loan. You submit your concept notes and they give you fund. And these funds are huge in.
Are they grants?
They are grants.
So what is a grant? When we say we give you a grant, what does it really have?
Now, grant is not money meant for you to just spend, as being said. Grant are funds provided for you to carry out the required, as I said, they require the concept note for the project you want to carry out.
Do you repay such money?
You don't repay such money.
So they are not loans?
They are not loans.
So Nigerian youth need to look more into this opportunity of grant, but I think it does not also come easy. You must also make sure your paperwork is very, very good, and look at the concept you want to look into before you can access such grants. So what are other infrastructure or structural things you need to put in place before you can access such grants?
Like the donors, we call them donors that provide those such grants. You have to be on a good page. Like your social media page, your social media handles, you have to show a network that, yes, you have been in existence doing this, trying to solve this problems before the coming of their intervention. You have to be in existence in the business, like, because in the concept letter they will ask you to provide how many years experience have you have in trying to solve this problem, who are your team. And now they don't provide this grant for just a singular person, they provide it for maybe NGO. NGO is not just a single person, it's a community of youth or groups or
coming
people
together
to do business, or coming together to solve a problem, or coming together to bring an idea on creating something.
Now, because you talk about grant and I'd like us to touch on loan sharks. I don't know if you have also received a text message who says that your brother, your sister have gotten a loan and is a chronic debtor. Yeah. Is a chronic debtor that you need to call the person to repay. And without you repaying, they'll start cyberbullying you, whereby they'll put you, they'll get you. In fact, a friend of mine suffered serious one. Do you know what? They are able to access his phone, and as they access his phone, they use his picture where he did not even put on dress, as it were, and they put it online and say this person is a chronic debtor. Ask me how much this person borrowed. 5,000 naira. And this 5,000 naira, if you cannot repay, it started to what? Multiply. But in a conventional bank, once you borrow money, you can, if you don't pay, there's a channel they follow, maybe through NDIC, through credit bureau. They can even check if you worth it and what have you. So what do you think? How will youth be secure from this cyberbullying?
I think the cyberbullying, before somebody take a loan from the loan shark, there's this online app, you see them, you download. They have their own message. You ask much question about your address, your whereabouts, your phone number, your next of kin, and all of that. I think they also have their own procedures. While, okay, now somebody that take loan of 5,000 naira from them, and they say you're going to repay maybe 6,100 naira as interest. That's like 1,000 naira as interest rates. And with a couple of 3 or 4 days, the person is unable to pay. This money is, the interest rate is what they are getting to also fund another person.
Right.
So now when you default, you put them at stress of funding somebody else.
No, but that's not the argument. The argument is that their conditionalities is so draconian that an average Nigerian cannot meet up. And that's why I think FCCPC and what have you are following them, because you register in one company Then you have about 10 loan sharks operating. So I think it is not legal. I don't think, because, and I want to discourage, I don't know if you want to discourage Nigeria from getting such loans.
Yes,
that is not structured.
I frown at it. I frown very fact about it, because getting such loan, one, the timing is not conducive, because they give you a loan of maybe 5,000 to 10,000 and they say repay in the next 3 days. How do you self-employed repay such loan within such a very time period?
Thank you so much. On a parting note, what do you have for Nigerian youth, and from business, Step Business Network, what do you have for us?
Thank you so much. We still want to get engaged with youths of Nigeria, especially on our trainings, for them to get engaged on intervention funds for climate change action, for youth, the ease of doing business. You can visit Abuja Enterprise Agency. You can visit for more. You can visit the Nigerian Youth Entrepreneurship Network also. They have the platform where you get direct information on these loan and the grants, especially like the Nigerian youth.
Nigerian youth will prefer grants. Thank you so much for being part of this program. We've been speaking with CEO Step Business Network, Mr. AINA OLADIPO, Mike, and he has educated us and shared a lot of insights for us on how to do business and how to manage yourself as a consumer in Nigeria. Thank you for being there. Till we meet next edition. Thank you. Consumer community on BRTV. My name is ALIYU, ILIAS. Matters that concerns you as a consumer, where we educate you on goods and services and fight for your interests and protect your privileges.
The commission, does this. We do investigate
bank. So when you lodge a complaint with the bank and after 2 weeks, maybe you didn't get a response or you are not satisfied with their resolution.
TSTV.